What's up everyone, Colt here. Thanks for stopping by for another video. Today I'd like to talk about the Glock 19 versus the Glock 26 and also equally why I didn't go with the Glock 43X or the Glock 48. So let's do it. Okay, before we get into this, let's just double check. I've got a Glock 26 here. It's clear. I've got a Glock 19 here. It's clear. I've got magazines. There's no ammo on the table. So the Glock 26 was my first carry gun, and I carried it literally every single day for almost 3 years now. Honestly, it's an absolutely fantastic gun. I shoot it really well. It's really comfortable. It's super small and easy to conceal. And when I chose this, the Glock 43X and the Glock 48 had both not been released yet. However, they both had been released when I decided to move to the Glock 19. So I'm going to get to why I went with the Glock 19 here in a bit. So the longer I carried, the more comfortable I got carrying, and the more I got my total carry package put together. Now what I mean by carry package is everything from my wardrobe, my gun, magazines, my holster, my belt, the position in which I carried. And so the more comfortable I got, the less I was actually worried about the gun printing. Now for those of you that don't know what printing is basically when you're carrying a gun, how much the outline of the gun is poking out of your shirt. So the dimensions of a gun, that is the primary factor in how much a gun prints through your shirt, is from the top of the slide here to the bottom of the grip. This dimension right here is the primary deciding factor on how concealable a gun is. And so this Glock 26 is so short, it basically does not print whatsoever, especially for me in my body type, which I'm about 6'2" and about 260 pounds. So the fact that this was so short right here, this dimension right here was so short, and it carried 10+1 rounds right from the factory. So what this means is when I bought this Glock 26, it had the highest capacity while also being the easiest to conceal. So the more comfortable I got with carrying, I started carrying it with a mag extension. So my first mag extension was just this. This is one of the Pierce grips. This is the PG2733, and it's just a +1 grip. And what's cool about this is it just gives you just a little bit more. So it does basically nothing to change this dimension, which is the dimension that makes the gun print, but it gives you more of a full grip where you can actually get all 3 fingers on the gun. And so this made the gun a lot more shootable and gave you a near full grip on the gun without sacrificing the concealability of it, so it didn't print anymore. So then I went from this mag extension to, during hoodie season when I would wear a coat or a hoodie, I started carrying this Hive grip extension here, and so this is a +2, so now it's 12+1. Really love this mag extension, got nothing but great things to say about it. Does kind of the same thing in terms of being able to add to the front of your grip, but because it's an extra round, it does also add some length here on the back. And so you're giving up a little bit of concealability for a couple more rounds. So I wore this for an entire winter, and then when summer came and I went back to shorts and a t-shirt, I just kept wearing this exact configuration. I carry appendix, I should have mentioned that earlier. I just kept wearing this exact configuration, and I got really comfortable with this dimension and with this setup, even when I'm only wearing shorts and a t-shirt. Now, the one issue I did always have with this 26, especially the more rounds I started carrying, was it wanting to flip out. Let me get a holster. Okay, so here's a T-Rex arms holster. Here's the belt clip right here. Where your belt runs right here, the ratio of the gun that is above the belt versus below the belt, this meant, the belt is right here, so this meant that the gun is very top heavy when I'm carrying it. And again, the problem got worse the more rounds I was carrying. So I began starting to have an issue with this wanting to flip out. So while I'm carrying it, the gun wants to poke out and flip away from my body. And so a longer barrel would actually lower the center of gravity on this and help keep the gun from wanting to flip out, in addition to just having more leverage on your body down below the belt to keep from wanting to push into your body. It would keep the gun held more vertically. So this is the first problem that I was wanting to address when moving to a new carry gun. The second problem I wanted to address was I wanted to carry more rounds. So currently it's 12 plus 1 in this configuration. I wanted to get up to 15 plus 1. And so the Glock 43X has 15 plus 1 if you're using the Shield magazines, which are impossible to get at the moment. However, the Glock 43X has basically the same barrel length as this 26, so I knew it wasn't going to do anything for the flipping out problem that I was having, because the same amount of gun, the ratio of the gun that's above the belt versus below the belt, would be exactly the same with the 43X as it is with this 26. Plus, you're adding another 3 rounds to this setup with the 43X when you're using the Shield mags, and so there would be even more weight above the belt than there is with this setup. So for me personally, that meant the 43X is out. Now, in the search for my next carry gun, in addition to a longer barrel and more capacity, higher capacity, the other things that I wanted was to run a red dot and a weapon light at all times when I was carrying. So at this point, if you're gonna go with Glock, now I'm not saying that you should go with Glock, and by the way, I should mention that none of this is trying to suggest what you guys should buy or what you should carry or what you shouldn't carry. I'm just wanting to explain my thought process and my decision-making process, and I hope and I think that it will help a lot of you out if you're deciding what to carry, or if you're looking for something new, or if you're a first-time gun owner and you're just looking to get into concealed carry. So the 43X is out, so we are left with the Glock 19 and the Glock 48. Now, if you're running the Shield magazines, both the Glock 19 and the Glock 48 have 15 round capacity. Both of them have an accessory rail with which to mount a light on them. Both of them come in an MOS version, which this Glock is, so you can mount a red dot optic on right from the factory, right from Glock. Now remember earlier when we were talking about this dimension right here being the biggest deciding factor for concealed carry, that's one thing that I should have mentioned, that by the time I was carrying this setup, it was almost identical to a Glock 19. I mean, they're almost the exact same dimension here. So in terms of this dimension here, top of the slide to bottom of the grip, both the Glock 19 and the Glock 48 have an identical height of 5.04 inches. So they're the exact same size from top of the slide to the bottom of the grip. And they have an almost identical barrel length. So both the Glock 48 and the Glock 19 solved my issues that I wanted of more capacity, an optic and an accessory rail with which to mount a light, and a longer barrel to help with the gun flipping out while I'm carrying it. However, the Glock 48 is a little bit thinner than the Glock 19, but that comes at a cost of 5 less rounds from the factory. If you're going to use factory Glock magazines, the 19 holds 15 plus 1, and if you're going to use factory Glock magazines, the Glock 48 holds 10 plus 1. Now, yes, the Shield Arms 15 round magazines for the Glock 48 is a very compelling argument, because that basically equals the capacity of this and the 48, but in a thinner frame for the 48, which that is the second dimension that makes a weapon more concealable. It's this dimension right here, and then also the thickness of the gun. Unfortunately, these magazines from Shield Arms are always out of stock, and they're very expensive. So it's a great thing if you can get your hands on them, but you're going to pay quite a bit for each one of these magazines. And then when you look at aftermarket support and all the other things that surround carrying your entire system, look at how many options are available for the 19 versus the Glock 48. So the Glock 19, because it's a full-size Glock, the most popular handgun in America, it has a million holsters. Every single company is going to make all their holster options for the Glock 19. Every single light manufacturer tests their lights on a Glock 19, so every light fits a Glock 19. And then if you're into modifying your guns or sprucing them up a little bit, the amount of aftermarket parts, triggers and magazine releases and barrels and whatever, the quantity of options that are out there is just by far the most for a Glock 19 of any other handgun on the entire market. Another thing that was part of my consideration is that a lot of these full-size frame Glocks have interchangeable parts. Half the parts from this Glock 26 fit in this Glock 19 and vice versa. Now this is absolutely not the case with the Glock 48 or the 43X. I mean, I've got a Glock 19 magazine here, and my Glock 26, the Glock 19 magazine fits in the Glock 26. And so this sort of cross-compatibility and the fact that magazines are extremely easy to find, holsters are extremely easy to find, parts are interchangeable between all full-size Glocks, which are the most popular handguns in America. This all played a role in my decision to go with the Glock 19 over the Glock 48. So then the next metric that you have to pay attention to is how it feels in your hands. Now for me personally, I have pretty big hands. So when I get my hand up in on a Glock 19, it is comfortable to me. It's actually comfortable, and I even have the bigger back strap on here. But it's comfortable to me, as to where the Glock 43 X and the Glock 48, they just feel too small to me. I can't get enough real estate here to get my palm up in the gun, and the 19 just feels much better to me in my hand. So literally for me, the only thing the Glock 48 has over a Glock 19 is the fact that this dimension right here is thinner. Now I think for some body types this might be a determining factor between something being easily concealable and something not being easily concealable. And I think if you were a tall, thin individual, a Glock 48 would be easier to conceal than a Glock 19. However, I've been carrying the Glock 26 for years. That is basically in every dimension that makes any difference on how concealable a gun is. I've been carrying this forever with no issues. I'm completely used to this. I have no issues concealing this system right here. So for me personally, that meant that the Glock 19 is the perfect choice for myself. It does all the things that I want my carry gun to do. It fixes all the issues I had with my 26 with none of the drawbacks. Your mileage may vary. There's obviously a ton of options out there on the market, so do your research and make sure that you look into the aftermarket support, the holster support. Pay attention when you're choosing a carry gun to this dimension right here, because that's the deciding factor, one of the main deciding factors on how concealable something is. And then obviously pay attention to the width of it as well. But now that I've been carrying this Glock 19 for a few weeks, I can say with 100% certainty that the longer barrel is absolutely more comfortable for me personally. I have none of the flipping out issues that I used to have. The gun has more leverage on your body, so it doesn't dig into you nearly as much as the Glock 26. Overall, I find the Glock 19 way more comfortable to carry for me and for my body type. Again, your mileage may vary. Hope this video helped you think about some things and at least think about what to consider when you're choosing a carry gun for yourself. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Drop me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this and what your favorite carry gun is. Share with your friends if you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.